and new pilots group. Kind of looking around, most of the folk here would have been at new pilots group anyway, is that right? Vaguely. Yeah. So whatever it is, this is what it is. We kind of, from asking folk what they wanted to talk about, and I guess especially since the time of year it is that we are now, you could say we are in the season now. We get a good day tomorrow. It could be a big XE day. So there's no point in talking about it as the future because it's now. So planning for XE flying seemed a good and somewhat wide topic to cover. So this isn't by any means the Bible on how to plan for an XE, because it is really important to stress a few things. First of all, one, you don't actually have to plan for XE at all. There's no, it's not like it's a prerequisite of flying cross country that you've done all sorts of planning and preparation. Some of the best fun cross countries are totally spontaneous and just happen as they happen. So don't for a minute think that it's an absolute necessity. But I like to think that planning is likely to lead to basically having a more successful, enjoyable day. And everybody plans in different ways. Some pilots go to all sorts of lengths to work out routes and look at thermal traces and plan big triangles and stuff. And great, it's very impressive that folk do that. I'm probably at the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't really do anything that I would sort of consciously call planning. So I thought, well, since everybody does it such a different way, I'll just go through exactly what I do rather than a talk that's kind of like, this is what is all the things that you could do. So there may well be bits that are totally missing from your expectations or from what you do. So I said it's a totally personal thing. By all means, it's primarily meant to be a kind of discussion based around posing questions rather than giving you all the answers. So if there's any bits that come up that don't seem to make sense about, or there's bits that you'd like to know a bit more about, just jump in at any point. This is very much a discussion rather than a kind of transmission, if you like. But yeah, I would say the general aim of any kind of planning is to make the most of whatever conditions you get on a day. That to me would be the sort of stated goal of what you're doing on the days leading up to the day before and on the day. Everything to do with planning is really all about maximising the conditions that we just happen to get. So, click. That's the first slide. There's a slight problem with that in that we don't have a computer, so despite having all the other bits, we don't have the bit that actually does it. So I'm afraid it's flip chart. So I thought the first thing I'd written down was, what are the questions that we're trying to answer? So question one, is it flyable? Right, we need to know that. I think we've all got a fair idea of what the range of conditions that we need from flyable. So I'm not going to go through that, it'll be pretty boring. But if there's any bits that you're thinking, well, I'm not really sure what I would put into that class, then by all means, then shout out. Next question, is it an XE day? Okay, we're starting to get into categorising what the kind of day is. Is it a mountain day? Again, we've got an even smaller subset of conditions now that's going to have to be met. Various different things is it a distance day? Or is it a triangle day? So again, we're getting probably even more limited again to start thinking about days where you would think about doing a triangle. Is it a day where going east or west is better? Going up north, is that better? Or a fairly common pattern, is it better to head down south? Yeah, is it a single day? Is it a group of whole days? That's pretty crucial. Know whether you're looking at your camping gear. And certainly, and most especially for winter, quite a simple choice. Is it a soaring day or is it a fly walk day? So that's the way I look at it. Oh, there's a fly walk day coming up. What are we going to be able to do with that day? Is there going to be any thermals about? What's the net wind? Blah blah. Can we go XC? Is it lighter net wind? What would you say are the criteria? Chuck it back to you. If you're thinking about it 2 or 3 days in advance, you will see it on the group. I think it's going to be great in Glencoe next Saturday. What are the criteria that you would look at to decide? Having decided it is flyable and it is an XC day, what then are you going to look for to say, is it a big mountain day?
The speed. No, there we go.
Appropriate wind speed. I'm going to super small right in case there's lots and lots. What would you give as a range? Let's say we start at 0. 0 up to for big mountains. This is met wind speed I'm talking about, i.e. wind up at summit height, 3,000, 4,000 feet. What would put your max? Let's have a poll and see what folks' max would be for big mountain flying.
Met wind at?
Met wind at 3,000 feet. I'm not talking about ground speed winds, what you would feel on the ground. Actual met wind up at 3,000, 4,000 feet.
Anything more than 10 knots would be rather challenging in the mountains if you had speed up to that. So 10 knots is probably the tops.
Can we standardise in miles an hour?
I was going to say 15.
12-ish, yeah.
12 miles per
Yeah.
hour, yeah. That's probably like
12 mile an hour up there. Sorry?
No. 15?
the speed maybe.
15,
Yeah, we just hit 15.
Well,
12, 15. So we're talking, okay, nobody's prepared to go any higher than that. Bearing in mind, this is for planning we're talking about here. This is what we expect in order to plan to go up and fly the big mountains. That's not to say, of course, that when you get there, there will be an error on your judgment, and you've got to take that into account, because you then think, well, what am I going to be like up at the top of the buckle with I thought 12 or 15 mile an hour, but it's actually 20 up here. Added on a wee bit of valley breeze and blah blah. So yeah, I would certainly agree with that one. What else would decide whether you want to go up to the big mountains or stay in smaller hills?
a good northerly mass, relatively dry, so it doesn't collect out the mountains too easily.
So relation to cloud then?
Yeah, so high cloud base.
Okay, let's put some numbers on it. Cloud base above
For 4K at least. Like, I would still do that if it's less than that, just in case it might get better. But I think it's
I'm talking best peak of the afternoon cloud base, what it's going to go up to.
Well, if it's showing anything in less than 4 grand, it's probably still can go and give it a go, but it's unlikely to be
Right,
great.
4,000 I would say
Yeah,
total minimum.
yeah.
And I maybe you could put 4,000, 5,000 just to, for 4.5 then.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an expectation of what we look for, making ourselves eager and excited about the day, or making a decision whether to go or not.
No, as I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's a question of maximising the scope on the day. You know, that's a really crucial one.
Oh, you mean
know,
so like where you would go if there's other options? Yeah, then 4 grand is probably
I mean,
minimum.
I would say I would say that's like a,
Yeah.
that would be below my minimum, let's put it that way. To me, going to flying hills that are 3.5, 4,000 feet with a 4,000 feet cloud base is actually below, I would call that below minimum. Because to me, the bit that we fly in is generally between the tops of the hills and the bottoms of the cloud. So the bigger, the more space you've got, the further you can
Yeah,
glide.
you're not going to have so much speed up over the tops, etc.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's if you go 4 grand, you can still go fly the beginning of the higher hills. I guess it still doesn't write off the day.
Yeah, I think the only point I'm saying is that's one of the real important features is base. You know, and everybody will have their own their ideas and that. You know, what preferences. Some people just like to fly bigger hills. Some folk might be out purely to maximise distance. Some folk might be out just for comfort. You know, so if you are going to fly the big hills in comfort, certainly having a really, really high cloud base, you know, like 7,000 or something, 8,000, makes it so much more comfortable. Because you know you climb up to 7,000 or 8,000 or something like that, and these big hills just become flat. So gliding over the top of them from this valley into that valley into this valley becomes no bother at all. Whereas if you've got 4.5 or 5,000, then you climb to there, you go on a glide, and before you know it, you're having to fly around to the next hill. Yeah, you said good air mass generally. We want a good unstable air mass because we've already said we're going to go on winds that are probably not really soarable or only just about soarable. But we're not talking strong soaring days. So to balance up, you know, you certainly want good enough thermal stuff to
No inversions.
to get you up. So yeah, air mass, good stability, and then what's happening with inversions is a real important one as well. Because one of the things, one of the key questions I think you need to ask yourself about inversions is this a day where there is an inversion, yes or no, or inversion issues, let's call it? That's either yes or no, and if it's yes, then the next question is, well, is it a day where we are going to be stuck below the inversion, and it's a question of working the best we can below the inversion, or is it a day where we're going to get through, and the issues are all going to be about what's the best way or the most likely way to get through the inversion? So it's, you know, as with all these things, the more you look at it, the more complicated it gets. And going right back to the beginning again, I'm not for a minute saying that everybody needs to do all this themselves every time. This is all based on questions that are good to ask yourself, and if the answer is, I don't know, yeah, fair enough. Go with the flow where everybody else is going, or ask somebody, you know, so they're not prerequisites. Hey,
Did you say you want it to be stable?
No.
No, you want-
That's a bit-
you want it reasonably unstable.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So you want something capping the cloud as well. So like an inversion like 11 grand, so they cap in nice shape. Don't go into thunderstorm.
Yeah. Again, that key, reasonably unstable is a good one,
Okay.
because not
But yeah, so
because it may well be
that's
that just thinking about stability in itself in an overall sense, it may well be that that's a feature that says not a big mountain day to day, because there's going to be so much development over the big mountains that it's all going to overdevelop and grey in or even shower. Whereas if you go to the smaller hills, there'll be less development. So again, it's the right amount of stability or instability for big mountain flying.
Cold fronts, warm fronts.
Sorry?
Cold fronts, warm fronts, where they are and where they've been, and
Yeah.
in between them.
Yeah, but that's all part of the big picture. So there's two things to say about that. One, certainly where the position of the fronts are is totally crucial in terms of all of your judgment about stuff to do with air mass. But it's also crucial in terms of a kind of more general view of planning, and I think it's on one of the slides somewhere, knowing what, not just what it's like during the day, but what changes are happening during the day. Are you expecting a warm front to come in? Probably a more likely one, because if there's a cold front just arriving, we're probably less likely to be flying anyway. So arrivals of warm fronts is an absolutely standard feature. So having a really good view of the forecast for the day, knowing when the warm front's going to start to arrive and how quickly it's going to come in. Again, that might be a factor. That would be a factor that would lead you into starting to make decisions about: is it an early day? Is it a late day? You know, you may want to wait until the peak of the afternoon at 2 to 4 o'clock or something and to go then, or it may be that you know that there's a warm front going to be starting to arrive at 2, so you think, well, I'm just going to have to go now and take what I get. So yeah, fronts, yeah, certainly part of the big picture. Yeah, is it a distance day or is it a triangle day? All of the above, but probably much more focused on wind speed. Again, high up wind speed. Me personally, there is nothing I like less than battering into wind and no getting anywhere. And if you set yourself a triangle task and then you find out that even the first leg you're virtually on the ground because it's so bloody difficult to make any progress into wind, that was probably a bad choice of trying to do a triangle on that day. So I would say we're talking about, let's be reasonable, I would say about 8 miles an hour. I wouldn't I mean, I know guys that are fancy gliders can fly into wind a lot better than I can. And they will do triangles and stronger winds than that, but that would be my kind of thought. And certainly if you get down to met wind speeds of the 2s and the 3s, that kind of amount of met wind, flying distance is actually pretty hard going, because you feel as if you're not getting anywhere, because you climb vertically and then you do one glide and then you climb vertically again. So trying to fly distance is actually quite frustrating, and it's it's a lot more enjoyable to try and fly a triangle flight on a day where you're down in the 2s or 3s. Basically a day where the climbs feel pretty much vertical. If you feel and there's a spread all the way through, of course there's no real hard and fast. But yeah, if you're thinking about a day where by the time you get up to the top you're seeing where you started away in the distance, then the thought of getting back to it is going to be pretty hard going. But if you're kind of looking at it from base and it's down there, then it opens up all sorts of possibilities to fly triangles. East or west, north or south, yeah, just depend on the pattern. I mean, it's a small country, but it's remarkable how quickly you can, how short a distance you can go from really good conditions to pretty shit conditions, as was elegantly demonstrated in the big super day in the North-South Cup this year, where we started in Bridge of Orchy in the morning. It looked absolutely totally shit.
It was raining.
It was raining. I mean, the cloud was down in the hill. It was absolutely horrible. We drove through Cullen, a wee bit further east, Pitlochry, and went up Canleith, which, as the crow flies, can be more than 50 km, something like that. 50, 60 k's. And it was glorious. I mean, it was, everybody's hailed it as one of the best days flying of the decade, if not the century.
That's a big statement.
That's because a lot of them just happened to be there in Scotland on one of the best days we've had. And as I said earlier, it's a real common pattern, absolutely standard pattern for the jet stream to be somewhere to the north of us, high pressure to be somewhere to the south of us, low pressure's just up Orkney or something, so it's too bloody windy, but you only have to go 100 miles, 200 miles, maybe to the lakes, the dales, or maybe down as far as the peaks or Longmynd or something. You know, sit in your car for 2 or 3 hours or whatever, and you can go from not flyable weather to totally classic XE conditions. Again, the keener you are, the more that kind of stuff is relevant. You know, if you're gonna know that bothered about 2 or 3 or 4 hours driving, then you just write the day off. That was pretty simple. Yeah, the winter thing, as I say, I've got right into fly walking so much in the last couple of years, because I used to get really quite frustrated about days. I always wanted to go flying in the winter, and we used to always just do the standard stuff. You know, if it was a really light southerly, you'd go to Tinto, and we would sit in the hill, and there wasn't enough wind to soar, and you'd flap about and have a few top to bottoms and that was it. But since I've kind of discovered fly walking, to look at days coming up and go, okay, that's not going to be soarable anywhere, especially if it's sub-zero temperatures and the ground's nice and crispy, just to set off on some journey from somewhere to somewhere else and fly your glider as much as you can and carry it the rest. I just love it. So that's the questions.